My name is Blake and welcome to the bar. Today, we're going to be making a cocktail based on the banned Magic card Sylvan Primordial. Now this card got banned in the Commander format because it just provided you with overwhelming value. It ramped you out on resources, it destroyed your opponent's permanents, and it just was too strong in the multiplayer format. So we're going to take inspiration from this card to make a riff on a mojito. We're going to make a clarified lime and mint cordial. We're going to incorporate some matcha, and you're going to see a really cool visual take place. I'm excited to share this drink with you. So we're going to cover three things today. First, I'm going to walk you through the story of Sylvan Primordial, why it got banned. Secondly, I'll walk you through how to make each of the ingredients. We're going to do some really cool chemistry in this cocktail. I'm going to show you how to clarify a drink using Agar Agar. It's a vegan way of doing clarified cocktails. It leaves super bright citrus notes behind, but a perfectly clear color. And then we're also going to make a lemongrass ginger matcha shot, which is going to be kind of the green earth taking over the cocktail in the same way that Sylvan Primordial takes over a game of Commander. And last but not least, we'll make the drink, we'll give it a taste, and I'll let you know my thoughts. So with that in mind, here's to Sylvan Primordial, and let's go make some magic at the bar. So today we're making Sylvan Prime Cordial, which of course is in reference to Sylvan Primordial. Sylvan Primordial reads 5 green, 7 mana total for a 6/8 reach creature that says when it enters the battlefield for each opponent, destroy target non-creature permanent that player controls. For each permanent destroyed this way, search your library for a forest, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So this card was printed back in Gatecrash in 2013, and at the time, the big boogeyman of a bunch of formats, of Standard, of Legacy, was the card Primeval Titan. And so I think the idea of printing this card was that they wanted to make a more fair version of the card Primeval Titan, but they did a really bad job. I don't think they really had Commander in mind when designing this card. I mean, this card was good enough to see play in one-on-one formats, but in Commander, you have 3 opponents. And so since this card reads for each opponent, you ended up getting 3 times the value out of it than you would in a one-on-one game. Beyond that, the card was just way too abusable. Since it's an enter the battlefield trigger, you can combine it with red and you can make copies of the card. You can combine it with blue and white and you can continuously blink the card and get, the enter the battlefield effect. In black, you can sacrifice it and reanimate it. That is why the card got banned. Now, there has been a lot of talk about whether this card still belongs on the ban list. There's a lot of heated debate about it. I personally think that it's going to stay banned. I don't see any reason why this needs to come off. However, there are people talking about how the game of Commander has gotten so much more powerful over the past few years, and it's not as big of a boogeyman as it may once have been. Now, how did I take inspiration from this to make a cocktail? I always like to start with a base drink, and so for this one, I decided that it would be a perfect fit for a mojito. If you look at the art on the card, I think it's really cool. It's a kind of like a clear forested area, and you just see this green creature taking up the space of the environment that it's in. I liked the idea of mint, green chartreuse to get herbal notes. And then to really play on the art that's present in the cocktail, what we're gonna do is make a clarified lime and mint cordial. Super pretty. We're gonna use a technique using Agar Agar to clarify the cocktail. And then in order to represent kind of the green taking over aspects of the game, we're gonna make a lemongrass and ginger matcha shot. And when you present the drink, you pour the matcha shot over the top of the drink, and it will, the green will sink through the entire cocktail, absolutely transforming it. I absolutely love it. This is one of my favorite drinks that I've made to date. So with that in mind, let's go walk you through how to make each of the ingredients.
We'll start with the star of the cocktail, a clarified lime, mint, and cardamom cordial. This ingredient was inspired from Kevin Coase, so make sure you check out his channel. We begin by preparing all of our ingredients, starting by washing a bunch of mint, and then measuring out 3 grams of lime peels with the white pith removed, 100 grams of lime juice, 150 grams of filtered water, and 100 grams of sugar. We'll then measure out 4 grams of citric acid and 2 grams of malic acid and add it to the container with the lime peels. Finally, we'll remove the seeds of 2 to 3 cardamom pods and give it a quick grind in the mortar and pestle, and then add all of these ingredients into a blender and blend. Now we're going to introduce Agar Agar to this cordial in order to clarify it. Agar Agar is a vegan gelling agent similar to gelatin, except it's made from seaweed. By adding this to our cordial, it'll form long molecular chains that attach to the solids, and once we filter those out, you'll be left with a perfectly clear liquid. So measure out 1 gram of Agar Agar, and then we're going to take that and the blended cordial over to the stove. Let's pour out a small amount of the cordial into a saucepan, maybe half a cup, and set your stove to medium heat. Once you start to see bubbles form, remove the pan from the heat and add your gram of Agar Agar, stirring until it's fully dissolved. Then, slowly add the rest of the cordial while stirring. This will help cool down the mixture and incorporate the Agar Agar into the rest of the cordial. Finally, put this in the freezer for a few hours to allow it to continue to chill and let those long molecular chains form. You don't want this to freeze solid, so check on it periodically and remove it once a chunky slime forms. We can now finish clarifying this cordial by running the liquid through a coffee filter. The first drops that come out of this may be a little cloudy or retain some of its color, so start in a separate vessel, and then once you see the liquid running through clearly, switch it over and then re-pour that original liquid back through the filter, and the rest of it will run clean. This can take several hours to clarify, so I like to just let it sit overnight and check on it in the morning. You'll notice that our green slime has lost all of its color, and we're left with this perfectly clear liquid with a pale pink coloration left from the cardamom. Store this in the fridge and it should last a few weeks, maybe a month, but you'll definitely drink it before it goes bad. Now I'll walk you through how to make our lemongrass matcha shot. Start by peeling about a 2-inch knob of ginger, then cut your lemongrass into smaller, more manageable pieces. If your lemongrass still has the grassy outer leaves, remove those until you just have the core remaining. I bought mine pre-peeled. Now take a blunt object like the back of your knife, or in my case I used a pestle from a mortar and pestle, and use it to crush these ingredients. Add these to a pot along with 50 grams of sugar and 400 grams of filtered water. Let them simmer and steep for about 10 minutes, and then filter out your tea, and you can use it right away or you can store it in the fridge for later. The tea and the cordial can be made ahead of time, but the matcha shot should be made right before serving the drink. To prepare the shot, begin by submerging a matcha whisk in hot water. Sift out 2 grams of a high-quality ceremonial grade matcha, and then measure 3/4 of an ounce of the prepared tea and pour it over the matcha. Now take your whisk and, starting very slowly, begin to stir in a circular motion. Ensure that there aren't any clumps and that all of the matcha is hydrated. Then begin to increase your speed and eventually change from a circular motion to a vertical stirring pattern. I also find a lot of success by starting with more pressure, and as I increase my speed, I apply less pressure. This will help form a better crema on top of your matcha. Pour this shot into a glass, and now we're ready to serve our drink.
And now it's time for my favorite part of the video, where we make and test our drink. So let's go ahead and put everything together. We're gonna use a mixing glass, just a little bit of dilution. You know, obviously a mojito is normally shaken, but in this case, since we took all the effort to clarify the drink, we want to keep it crystal clear. First and foremost, we're going to use our clarified cordial. I love how it gets like, there's so many green ingredients in this. Like before we clarified it, it was just bright green. But that cardamom is the only thing that has really colored this at all. So it's almost like a pinkish hue, just very interesting in my opinion. So let's add 2.5 ounces of our clarified lime, mint, and cardamom cordial. I'm gonna add 2 ounces of a clear white rum. I'm using El Dorado 3-year, however, like Havana Club would go really well in this cocktail as well. Now we're gonna use a very special bottle here, 1/2 ounce of green chartreuse. I know this is really hard to find. My favorite replacement for green chartreuse has been this heirloom Genepi. Both bottles, you're gonna get those alpine herbal notes, and it does a really good job. So just 1/2 ounce of our green chartreuse. Let's go ahead and add some ice. Give it just a little bit of a stir. Don't need a ton of dilution, so 15 seconds here on the stir. Now let's grab our glass. I've got clear ice in here, just very small cubes. We want to create a really cool visual effect. So normally in a Collins glass, I would use like a long ice spear, but in this situation, I want there to be lots of small ice cubes kind of in the way, and you'll see how the matcha shot will kind of take over the drink. So anyways, let's strain this off. And now let's add our lemongrass ginger matcha shot. Take a look. Now my absolute favorite part, let's give it a taste. I think out of every drink that I've made so far on this channel, this one was the one that I was most excited to make. In testing, I just tried it. I haven't messed with the recipe at all. And on the very first take, I was like, holy cow, this is a winner. I get it, this is intimidating. The matcha absolutely overtakes the drink, and you definitely get an earthy flavor, but it pairs so well with the cocktail. The mint, the cardamom, all of it comes through. It's a really good riff on a mojito, but definitely a much earthier version of it. If you like matcha, try this one out. If you don't like matcha, I think this might get your feet wet into tasting matcha. I know I actually had to learn how to prepare matcha just to make this drink. It was my first venture into it, and I've grown to like it quite a bit. The lemongrass ginger helps subdue some of the overly bitter notes in the matcha, and really makes it much more approachable. And then obviously, if you love a mojito, this is a must-try drink. So, so good. With that in mind, cheers. I really hope you try this one. Make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, comment any other ideas for drinks you want me to make in the future. And with that, hope you make some magic at the bar. Nope, I think that was a good take. I think we'll just keep it.